Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me in this presentation, Moving to the Cloud. Let me first introduce myself. I am Riyasat Amir, the Chief Information Officer of ABC Company. I recently attended a technological seminar on cloud computing, and I believe that the potential benefits of implementing it in our company would enable us to achieve our growth strategies and serve our customers better. Let me take you through the agenda for today. The agenda for today would be to discuss the objectives of the presentation, to discuss what cloud computing is in general, experience of other companies when it comes to moving to the cloud, advantages, disadvantages and associated risks, the scope for our company in moving to the cloud, the infrastructure required for cloud computing, best practices for managing the cloud, business case where I'll be discussing the financial viability, and of course some concluding thoughts. The objectives of the presentation for today is of course to explain how cloud computing could be deployed in our company, experiences of other companies that have moved to the cloud, the savings and costs of moving to the cloud and how it could be managed, and of course to obtain approval and seek funding for implementing cloud computing. So what's cloud computing? Cloud computing, often referred to as simply the cloud, is the delivery of on-demand computing resources, everything from applications to data centers over the internet on a pay-for-use basis. Cloud computing allows companies to access IT-based services including infrastructure, applications, platforms, and business processes via the internet. Cloud technologies allow IT to better respond to the changing needs of business, create new services, and open new markets, thereby helping to achieve high performance. Cloud computing tend to share several characteristics. They are little or no requirement for capital investment to enable usage as hardware would be rented by the cloud provider, variable pricing based on consumptions, buyers pay per use, rapid acquisition and deployment as purchase of hardware or renting property to physically locate them is not required, lower ongoing operating costs than IT owned and managed in-house, programmable and adaptable in use. For many industries, insurance included, the increasing importance of cloud computing derives from its fit with current business priorities. It provides the capabilities businesses need on a flexible basis, helping companies respond quickly and cost-effectively to changing conditions. Cloud computing could be deployed in three basic ways: a private cloud, a public cloud, or a hybrid cloud. A private cloud is owned and operated by a single company that controls the way virtualized resources and automated services are customized and used by various lines of business and constituent groups. Private cloud exists to take advantage of many of cloud's efficiencies while providing more control of resources and steering clear of multi-tenancy. Public clouds, on the other hand, are owned and operated by companies that use them to offer rapid access to affordable computing resources to other organizations or individuals. With public cloud services, users don't need to purchase hardware, software, or supporting infrastructure, which is owned and managed by providers. Public cloud extends the data center's capabilities by enabling the provision of IT service from third-party providers over a network. For example, software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure service, which I'll be discussing in a few moments. The last one, a hybrid cloud, uses a private cloud foundation combined with a strategic use of public cloud services. This deployment model helps businesses to take advantage of secured applications and data hosting on a private cloud while still enjoying cost benefits by keeping shared data and applications on the public cloud. This model is also used for handling cloud bursting, which refers to a scenario where the existing private cloud infrastructure is not able to handle load spikes and requires a fallback option to support the load. Hence, the cloud migrates workloads between public and private hosting without any inconvenience to the users. Cloud computing has various service layers. The basic three key layers are infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Infrastructure as a service provides companies with computing resources including servers, networking, storage, and data center space on a pay-per-use basis. Platform as a service provides a cloud-based environment with everything required to support the complete life cycle of building and delivering web-based cloud applications without the cost and complexity of buying and managing the underlying hardware, software, provisioning, and hosting. Cloud-based applications, on the other hand, or software as a service, runs on distant computers in the clouds that are owned and operated by others and that connect to users' computers via the internet and usually a web browser. Experience of other companies. Companies that are successfully using cloud computing are Pinterest, Xerox, InvoicePay, Apple, MediaMath, Etsy, Intercontinental Hotels Group, Netflix, and Instagram. Among insurance company XA and ING Insurance have adopted cloud technologies to serve their customers better. I would like to quote from Tony Kerrison, Head of Infrastructure Services of ING. He says, ING is very keen to deploy cloud computing technology, essentially the separation of applications from the underlying infrastructure, and to get to a point where technology is a service easily, efficiently, and effectively provided to the company regardless of location. In order to persuade the business that virtualization and cloud computing is the way forward, we have had to focus strongly on the business benefits, scalability, flexibility, and cost. I would also like to add Vincent Cohen, SVP and Chief Technology Officer, and Saurav Nikli, Global Information Officer of AXA, who says, cloud computing is a part of our growth strategy. It could materially change how we develop applications and apply technology to business, especially when it comes to cost structure, investment, and agility. Cloud computing is not just an external service, it is also internal. We are looking at evolving a hybrid model and developing our own internal cloud computing capabilities. The advantages, disadvantages, and of course risks of cloud computing. The advantages of cloud computing are cost efficient, because we do not have to of course own or maintain and upgrade the software or the hardware. Storage capacity it's very flexible as and required. Backup and recovery, it's easier because it is in the cloud. Easy access to information from anywhere. Handle peaks in demand more easily. In short, it is scalable, it is flexible, and it's cost efficient. The disadvantages, of course, like in any other computing solution, cloud computing is not without its disadvantages. There are high-speed internet required because, of course, we have to constantly be in connection with the cloud. Possible downtime if the internet is down, and of course sometimes inflexibility where of course cloud computing vendors may lock our business through proprietary applications or formats which we would have to use of theirs. The risks of course of cloud computing are data security, because the third party is holding onto our data and there are privacy issues. Therefore, it's prone to attacks by hackers. Continuity of service if the cloud provider ends his business, and of course reliance on third party for hardware and software. The scope of our company, I would suggest, when it comes to cloud computing is to adopt an infrastructure as a service only for now and set up a cloud for the Middle East and Asia sector due to the less complex structure. A hybrid model of deployment of infrastructure service where client data and sensitive data could be kept secure by MEA compliance policies will be maintained by the private cloud, and where non-sensitive data would be on the public cloud. Allow insurance sales agents, actuaries, and claim examiners to access the insurance policies, schemes, and record information through their handheld devices or web browser anywhere. Clients get access to the company database and view the data and claim history through a web browser and mobile phones. The infrastructure required, of course, to moving to the cloud we'll have to adapt IT governance structure and of course policies. Upgrade ICT data security systems to protect client-based data. We'll have to, of course, upgrade IT systems to ensure data synchronization and integrity. Server hardware, basic software which will be required to, of course, have the private cloud. Contract labor support during the transition. A cloud company consultant to facilitate the transition and help in change management. End user devices for, of course, our insurance agents, our claim examiners to use the service anywhere, and of course network infrastructure and high-speed internet. Best practice in managing the cloud are, of course, keeping up to date with the latest cloud security developments, because cloud company is constantly evolving and adapting to new security threats. We need to upgrade our security as often as possible. Adding file caching capabilities to the computer, Considering local caching of files on a computer as a backup for the cloud service, cloud computing is perfect for sharing team files, but the network can go down and bring project progress to a standstill. Not relying completely on the cloud, and of course having backup systems so that we should host our own backups. Knowing which programs or services are used that are supported by the cloud providers, this allows us to keep better track of what information we could potentially lose or have stolen in the event of a CSP security breach. Being aware of the system that can be easily transferred to another server in the cloud service provider's network, and keeping up to date on infrastructure policy changes for the cloud service provider, and lastly comparing encryption standards between cloud service provider to have us data secured better. Let me of course talk to you about the business case, the savings and costs of moving to the cloud. As you can see, the savings on moving to the cloud are assessed over 6 years, and the savings move from 4.45 million in year 1 to, of course, we have 8.25 million in by year 6. The total cost of moving to the cloud starts at 9 million initially and averages around 3 million a year. Based on the cash flows, the NPV stands at $3.48 million, which means we are taking positive cash inflows of the 6-year period, and after taking into consideration the time value of money and of course the discount factor of 10%. The payback is within 3.5 years, which is very good. The IRR is at 20%, which means that the inflation rate would have to go to 20% before the project is unviable, or it can be, of course, it can be interpreted as the rate of return to a company is 20%, which is much more than our expected rate of return, and the profitability index is 1.39, which means that the project savings are above the costs at a ratio 1.39:1. I've also carried out 3 scenarios of sensitivity analysis. Scenario 1 being savings of only 50% in hardware expenditure. Scenario 2, annual fee based on usage increases by 50%. And scenario 3, moving and storage cost increases by 100%. And you would see the payback in PV, IRR and PI changing accordingly. But these could be of course mitigated by of course having all hardware savings accounted for accurately, adjusted for depreciation, negotiating and obtaining the best possible price for new hardware, good sellable values for disposed hardware, negotiate and obtain the best long-term rates for usage from cloud vendor, and of course monitor and eliminate unnecessary usage, negotiate and obtain best rates for moving and long-term rates for cloud, and eliminating unnecessary storage of data. As concluding remarks, as a cloud company can enable us to reuse IT resources more efficiently, whether they are purchased upfront or rented without any long-term commitment, ensures that we can achieve our growth strategy and competitive advantage through customer satisfaction, implementing an infrastructure as a service, hybrid cloud deployment model for the Middle East sector. The benefits of scalability, sustainability, flexibility, and cost savings outweigh the advantages pointed before. Cost-benefit analysis clearly points out the financial feasibility of the investment, and the sensitivity analysis parameters should be managed. However, in view of the advantages to ABC company, I seek your authorization and funding to implement cloud computing for our company. Thank you very much everyone for joining me in this presentation. If you require any further clarifications on cloud computing or my presentation today, or if you have any queries, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you. Thank you. In preparing this presentation, I have learned the following lessons. I learned how to prepare a journal, listing references according to the Harvard referencing style, which I didn't know before, preparing a video out of a PowerPoint presentation, adding audio to MS PowerPoint, cloud computing, what it is and how it could be utilized, its advantages, disadvantages, who are the service providers, what are the costs, and of course experiences of cloud in the insurance industry and how they have implemented clouds, carrying out a cost benefit analysis for an IT related project, calculating the profitability index, carrying out sensitivity analysis, using YouTube to present data, and of course calculating NPV, IRR and discounting in MS Excel. Thank you very much.